is up, y'all? It is me, Tasha C, and welcome to the Tasha C Show podcast. Shout out to my YouTube podcast fam. Hugs and loves. Thank you for all the support, and hugs and loves of people in advance in the near future who will be supporting either or both, which I highly recommend on both platforms. By the way, if you're looking or wondering if you're listening to podcasts and we're about a YouTube channel, type in the search in YouTube, Tasha C TV. And if you're listening to this video, don't forget to look, and if you're not already subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. But look in the description, and it will show you, including Speaker, other platforms where my podcast should be at. Okay? So anyways, y'all, I just wanted to correct something. First of all, yesterday before I got a chance to upload, I couldn't stop the upload because I had to, copy and paste again and do the hashtags and everything yesterday. It's going to say 59 if you listen to volume 58 yesterday, because the time I realized the correction, the number, the volume. So today is actually volume 59 of our Kings and Queens Next Door. So, if you're paying attention, like, wait a minute, why is it 59 again? Because it is actually. Like I said, I already explained, I'm going to, go to the intro. It's one of the times where my sleeping pattern is off, y'all, so it's almost 5 o'clock in the morning. It's 4:42 a.m. So I figure, let me go ahead and do, my podcast for today. As far as this, because this is something I would do every day. I mean, as long as I can anyway. So this is actually March the 30th, 2020. And like I said, if y'all know, we all have to, which was said, we have a little more time in our hands and less is necessary. Let's just say, some things something has been extended to April the 30th. And we're not talking about the stimulus checks. Okay, so anyway, let's go ahead. The first thing we're going to go to is just an article about the upcoming semi-autobiographic film about the Clark sisters, which there were, a duo where there was a lot of gospel artists that were popular. I'm not, into gospel music like that, but there has been, multiple people that were famous that came from the gospel circuit, Gina music. So, the Clark sisters are one of them. So like I said, coming up on actually Easter weekend, Passover Resurrection weekend, Jesus rose from the grave weekend. There's 2 movies that are coming if you, have the Lifetime channel or know a hookup or, have a link or whatever. There's supposed to be 2 films. One I talked about briefly last week. I forgot what it was this weekend because, it is actually Monday morning. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just talk about our article and maybe 1 or 2 things about the past thing. Then, I will be talking about the last queen on that particular article on the list, and I may just only do 2 things today and just read them and just call them and then continue with the rest of my information, y'all. Okay, but this time I was at least a little prepared that I already have on the page. Now, I found them on Instagram originally, and they have their own website. Yeah, I think they were on Instagram, but they also have a webpage called blackfilm.com. And they got pics from the Lifetime's Clark sisters, the First Ladies of Gospel with Queen Latifah, Missy Elliott, and Mary J. Blige as executive producers. The film premieres on April 11, 2020, by Wilson Morris, March 8th, 2020 at 8:45 p.m. And the reason why I ended up looking for this information again originally actually wasn't even for the podcast. Honestly, y'all, one of my sisters, got the dates mixed up and thought, even though I had seen and, look at, Google, where they have, now, they used to have, remember the TV guide, y'all. Now, how you just can Google and see what's the upcoming shows that are coming up in the, in the next couple months or so. So, I thought it was, based on what she said, she thought it was supposed to come this weekend, this past Saturday, and I look and that's where I found out this article. Now, let me go ahead and finish the rest of this article, y'all. Hopefully there's no words that I'll end up chopping, murdering by mispronouncing them. Okay. Lifetime TV has released new photos from the biopic of the Clark sisters, the first ladies of gospel, that will premiere on Saturday, April 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and / I don't know Pacific time. Okay. Okay, wait a minute. N20 or N John Wayne, oh God, Lord help me. Ellis stars as the sisters' ironic mother, Maddie Moss Clark. The sisters are Christina Bell as Twinkie, Kara Shepard as Karen, which is actually one of I think that's Karen Clark's daughter in real life. Sheila Fraser as Dorina, Raven Goodwin as Denise, and Angela Baggett as Jackie. Queen Latifah and Missy Elliott and Mary J. Blige are signed sign on to be executive producers. The movie will detail their humble beginnings, struggle to find their place, to later becoming the best-selling gospel group in the music world. It will tell the story of the 5 Clark sisters and their mother, Maddie Moss Clark. The movie will feature recordings of some of the Clark sisters' big hits like You Brought the Sunshine. Loretta Jones, executive produced with Holly Carter of the Riverdale Entertainment and Sean King Carmen for Favorite Unit. Casting the film is Tracy Twinkie Bird. Christine Swanson, Chicago PD directs. Story by Camille Tucker and written by Sylvia L. Jones and Camille Tucker. Bringing them to a story that from My Women to Life has become a core tenet of Lifetime, says Tanya Lopez, EPV of movies, limited series and original movie acquisitions, Lifetime and LMM. We are thrilled to partner with Cheryl, Shauna, Queen Latifah, Mary, Missy, and the Clark sisters for the new projects that will showcase these iconic women in the music to new audiences. According to Wikipedia, the sisters are credited for helping to bring gospel music to the mainstream and are considered as pioneers of contemporary gospel. Their biggest car hits include Is My Living in Vain, Hallelujah, He Gave Me Nothing to Lose, Endow Me, their hit song Jesus is a Love Song, Pure Gold, Expect a Miracle, and the largest mainstream crossover gold certified You Brought the Sunshine. The Clark sisters have won 3 Grammy Awards. With 16 albums to their credit and millions in sales, the Clark sisters are the highest selling female gospel group in history. Okay, I thought it was going to be a little bit more, but that is it. I don't know, I may save this page for other stuff. News, interviews, features, review. Okay. Maybe I might find some more information there. Okay. Now, I was looking at... Let's go back. It's not too far away. But it was the last queen out of the 7 powerful queens at that little mini article I had. Now, I originally had... I don't know why... Okay, I sat there, and I know I originally had pressed, or I thought I did. Okay, this is from liberatingers.org. Okay, it was actually published last year on June 18, 2019 by Irvin Honor. Oh, Lord, I did not mean to mispronounce your name. Okay, African Heroes of Freedom, Queen Mormimi Ajasoro. As we continue to cover more about the ancient African world, Abba will highlight features who have a profound impact on early Africa's development. We know less about the history of ancient and medieval Africa than any other region of the world. Much of what we know about early Africa today has been uncovered in just the last 5 decades. In fact, the more archaeology reveals about the life in ancient and medieval Africa, the less we seem to argue with many of our long-held assumptions about the continent and its people. For instance, historians used to believe that ironwork was first discovered in Turkey around 1500 BC, but new evidence proves that ironwork was in wide use around the same period, or even as early as 1800 BC in Central Africa. We also know that the early Eastern African tribes were building sophisticated sculptures about the same time that the ancient Greeks were building the part was it Parthenon, contrary to the widespread belief that early Africans only lived in huts without civilization. These sorts of revelations are why it is necessary not to make assumptions about how early Africans lived, and definitely not about their philosophy way of life. Each African tribe and community can be rationally different from others in terms of social structures and values, but we can isolate and study specific communities, tribes, and significant individuals to give us a better understanding of such groups or individuals' social and philosophical values. In this series, we will visit how unsung African heroes contribute to the survival and prosperity of their tribes. Since these individuals will be drawn from ancient and medieval African history, I will rely on archaeological references, folklore accounts, and sometimes the role of spiritualism in African life. In this first study, we will learn about the remarkable story of Queen Ranaochu, Africa's Lady Liberty, from the medieval kingdom of Ife, also called Ife, in modern-day Nigeria. Morphe and the Yoruba people. Morphe made significant contributions to African freedom, but her life received little scholarly attention. She was the queen of the Yoruba tribe, which is one of the most famous and influential black tribes in history. Morphe's exploits helped preserve the commercial life of her people and free them from oppressors. Today, there are over 41 million ethnic Yorubas who live predominantly in 16 countries in West Africa. Although because of the transatlantic slave trade, large Yoruba communities have taken root in countries like Brazil, Cuba, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, and other parts of the Americas. There are also Yoruba communities in many European countries. Most have migrated in the immediate decades after the end of colonialism in the 1970s and 1980s, while fleeing economic and political instability in their home countries. But the Yorubas would have never survived to become a predominant black ethnic group in the 21st century if it were not for the bravery of some of its early heroes, among which is the remarkable Queen Mormidi. Unfortunately, there are hardly any original written documents to validate most of the things we know about Morimi. We must rely on forward-led accounts passed down over generations by the Yoruba themselves, which is a common limitation when studying ancient and medieval African history. Although accounts of Morty's exploits are now sparsely documented in popular culture, the Yorubas have always considered folklore called Orba in the Yoruba language the strongest medium for teaching and preserving history, rather than written documents or wall carvings. This medium of preserving history is a feature common to many sub-Saharan African tribes. We also do not know for certain exactly what year Margaret was born or when she died, owing to the absence of written evidence, but we do know she was a princess from the town of Ofa, and was later married to Oni, king of Ife. Her husband was either Oni Afrenir Amerling II or Oni Afrenir, both direct descendants of Ofer Aduwa, the legendary founder of the Yoruba tribe and the first Oni of African life. There were also claims she was married to both Onis at different times. To figure out where Marty was most likely lived, we consider the dates of some of the related entries. For instance, the Copper Master Ophemian II, first introduced to the world in 1937 by Oni Adarjo army in Afro, is to be believed by archaeologists to have been created around 1300 CE, while Albalufern II was still alive. We can peg Margaret's lifetime to around this period, since she was likely married to Albalufern II. Even if she was exactly married to Alfred, who succeeded Alfred II, the time frame of her life would not have been much further from Sarah of 1300. This is because Murray's hometown of Offa was founded in 1359 by Crown Prince Onfi Offalangan from one of the older kingdoms of Kingdom Oyo, founded by Ormaganyan. Since Offa is offshoot town of Kingdom of Ife, Ife is the spiritual home of Murray just as it is for any contemporary Yoruban origin. Spirituality is a huge influence on the town of Murray. The original religion of the Yoruba people, which is practiced in Ife and throughout the Yoruba land, was the earthly religion, a divination system that considers the world controlled by Mary, the supreme being, through spiritual energies. Our practitioners, including Mari and the early Yoruba people, communicated with Mary through Orishas, gods, and Ardumos, deities. Mari's quest for freedom was informed by this spiritualism. But the popularity of Mari started while she was still a young princess in Offa. She was well known throughout the town and its neighboring territories as a beautiful woman and is still reserved today as one of the most beautiful Yoruba women that ever lived. Yoruba invasions and Mari's classic spy plot. There's a gap in history between Mari's youth and when she moved to Ife, where she married the Oni. We do not know what influenced her through a thought process while growing up, or what might have influenced her zeal for freedom. But we know that while she was a queen in Effie, the kingdom was greatly troubled by raiders who occasionally looted the market in Effie and abducted citizens of the kingdom into slavery. These raiders often stole properties, staple foods, and domestic animals. They are believed to be from a neighboring country called Ogbo. Although the people of Effie were furious about these raids, they did not have the means to defend themselves. This is because the Yoruba invaders are seen as spirits by the people of Effie. Yoruba masquerades are always dressed in cotton robes, but the Yoruba raiders who appeared as masquerades were completely covered in Ralphla leaves. Out of all the acrobats of the raiders, Rhoda could not stand two in particular: the disruption of Effie market and the slaving to capture Effie citizens. The market of Effie was the mother to all markets in Yoruba land due to its location within the scarce kingdom of Effie and its commercial vibrancy. Furthermore, citizens of Effie were direct descendants of Ardubla and the Orishas. Having them in enemy captivity could have been led to the distribution of Effie. Mother believed that despite the mystery surrounding the identity of the Yoruba raiders, there must be a way to stop them. To find answers, she consulted with her Orisha at the Arderin River. The consultant of Orisha, while contemplating major decisions, the cardinal for the Erfa religion. In the early Yoruba land, Orishas were the conductor of the forces of nature. An individual will hardly take a defined course of action in life without consulting Orisha, either personally or throughout a Babawo, if a priest. Everyone offered to help mothers deliver her people from oppression, but demanding an offering as a payment after Marbury's request was met. Marbury agreed and went home to work as a classic spy on a classic spy plan. She would pose as a traitor on the next market day and allow herself to be captured by the raiders. Once in captivity, she planned to infiltrate the Uber leadership with her beauty and magic in the hope of finding a weakness that the people Ifrit could exploit. As planned, during the next raid, Robbie allowed herself to be captured and she was taken to Ubers along with other captives. When the captives were put on parade before the leader Ogbro, Robbie's beauty captured his attention and he ordered that she be brought to his court as a wife. Moridi spent some time in Uber studying the people's way of life with specific interest in the right way to dress for masquerades. Eventually, she lured the leader Urban into revealing the nature of the masquerades and their weaknesses. The leader told Moridi that these rougher masquerades were not spirits, but they were humans disguised such to intimidate people of the effort of its mission during a rage. Come to think about it, if was she already married when she did this? Because I'm wondering, what was the husband? Okay, never mind. Let me continue. He also revealed that since the Marguerites were dressed in dry, rough release, that it would not survive the slightest touch of fire. Murray's kept his revelation to herself and soon made her way back to Effie's life. So she was just able to go back there even though she was... Okay, the real life hero stuff. When in L.A. Effie, she tipped the audience about her discovery and advised that the next market raid... advised that the next raid, some people should be on a standby. Oh, I get to shorthand tree branch. And Osco, the ball, the middle later palm kid her front. She explained that the orbs should be lit when the masqueraders were in the market, and that the burning that should be used to torch masquerades. It did exactly as she advised. On the next market day, the torch bearing people of Ife, many who were market women, cast their burning torches at the urban raiders. The prospects of being burned alive by the torches terrified the Roberts Ubu masqueraders. The raids ended and Aphri was victorious. The horrid people were successfully liberated both the torch and Marvy's heroic plan. But the spirit of the Godmother's Pop would have a final role to play in her story. After Yuba raids had stopped, Murder visited the Urban River to pay her offering. The river god demanded she sacrifice her only son Odora to fulfill her end of the bargain. What? The demand was inconceivable for Murray, and she pleaded with the god for a less terrible offering. But in the end, she kept the promise and paid the price. The offering to the river god grieved not only Murray, but the whole kingdom Iffy. The river people consoled Murray by offering to be her eternal children, a promise kept until today. That's a damn shit. Okay. Let me finish this. Africa's liberally so although spiritualism and African Buddhism are key to this liberation of your people, they do not in any way deprive them of its historical and intellectual significance, especially as a few correlations between their exploits and the classical liberal ideas of self-determination. We see this first on how central the marketplace is to the moral story. Idle Effie was a prosperous trading city, and the Effie market was a critical part of the cultural sculpture of the Yoruba people. It was a melting pot for innovators, medicine men, hunters, farmers, traders, beauticians, soldiers, artists, and every other social standard that makes up Euro culture. And a tackle this sculpture will affect all aspect people of everyday life. Thus, Murray's liberation of people can be considered a struggle for the preservation of Yoruba way of life itself, the struggle of self-determinism. Additionally, although the form of servitude was existent among the early Yorubas, Murray still risked her life to free her people, and her sons, obviously. And her non-tolerance for the enslavement of the people of Earth underscores her contribution to Africa's foundation and individual theory. More significantly, Morris' remarkable exploits also put to bed the general preconceived notion that women are an inherently silent African history. Women played critical roles in the construction and richness of the history of ancient and medieval Africa. There are not many individuals in history with the freedom and fearlessness of Queen Martini. Centuries before the Statue of Liberty was built in New York City Harbor, Queen Martini lit a brave torch of liberty and courage. As such, Martini is always portrayed today as a black, beautiful woman dressed in finest Yoruba robes, that means, and adorned in beads, with a mighty torch of oracle held high in her right hand. The city of modern Ife in Osun State, southwest Nigeria, honors her sacrifice and aurors with every festival where people dressed in robes are chased around by those bearing the torch of Yugaso. Okay, this is footnotes. Alright, y'all, I am done for the day. Hugs and loves. God bless, stay safe, positive innovation, positive vibes. Hugs, loves, and I will definitely see y'all tomorrow. About to go to bed. Well, fix my soul's breast, then go back to bed and go. I was just to get, pray, meditate, get myself together. All right, y'all, take care.